All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. The first round of the NBA playoffs are still in progress, but it's still not too early to look ahead to the second round. And of course, there is a big time showdown in the Western Conference semifinals that is going to begin tomorrow as you've got the Denver Nuggets facing off with the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is a very interesting and intriguing matchup. I mean, you're looking at the Timberwolves, they're in the midst of one of their best seasons in franchise history. And of course, on the flip side for the Denver Nuggets, they're looking to repeat as NBA champions. Both of these teams met in the postseason last year in round number one, and Denver was able to dispatch of Minnesota in 5 games en route to winning the championship. This is a very different Minnesota team this year, and you just have to wonder if things are going to be coming together for the T Wolves. So you look at this, and this is a battle of two teams that took care of their business relatively quickly in round number one. We saw Minnesota sweep the Phoenix Suns, and that series ended, of course, on Sunday, while the Nuggets took 5 games to eliminate the Los Angeles Lakers, who they disposed of on Monday night. You look at there's so many questions about both of these teams heading into this series. The Chris Finch injury, and of course, the phenomenal Timberwolves head coach suffered the patella injury in Minnesota's series clinching win over the Suns on Sunday night. He had surgery, and it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Finch is going to be on the sidelines or will he just remain in the dressing room area for Minnesota come game one. He did travel with the team to Denver in preparations for game one. And of course, if he's not ready to go, assistant head coach Mike Nori will be doing things, and then Chris Finch will be in the dressing room. You think about Minnesota, you think about their success this season, and it starts with Anthony Edwards. And he's a guy that you can't stop him, but you can only hope to contain him. And if you're Denver, you're definitely going to have to go out there and make him work for his jump shots. And I'm not just his jump shots, his points period, because Anthony Edwards is a scorer, and his energy is infectious, so to speak. So it's going to be one of those where, again, as he goes, so do the fortunes of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Denver, they definitely need a healthy KCP. The layoff of not playing since Monday for the Nuggets should help him, and the same should be said for Jamal Murray, who was nursing that calf injury. But you look at Minnesota, and of course, one of the bigger reasons why the Timberwolves have been playing better this season has been at the defensive end of the floor. The Timberwolves have been one of the better defensive teams in the NBA throughout the season. And of course, when you're thinking about facing the Nuggets, first things first, just like I talked about trying to slow down Anthony Edwards, for Denver, you've got to try to find a way to slow down the big fella. And I'm talking about Nikola Jokic. And of course, when you think about the Joker, it's not just about his scoring ability, it's also his ability as a rebounder, it's also his ability as a facilitator. And once he gets going, especially with the assist, and once he gets going with the rebounding, especially at the offensive end of the floor, the Nuggets offense is typically rolling. This is why it's going to be so important for both Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert in this series. We saw Minnesota have a clear rebounding advantage over the Suns in round number one, and a lot of that was due to the fact that Minnesota had a big time size advantage over Phoenix in that series. But Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert are going to have to be important in this series. Rudy Gobert, of course, at the defensive end of the floor, he's got to try to find a way to make the Joker work for those points, and he's got to also find a way to try to keep the Joker off the offensive glass. Those are going to be keys for the Timberwolves in this series. For Karl Anthony Towns, it's one of those where this is a scenario where he's going to have to put on his big boy pants because more often than not, we've seen Cat disappear in those critical moments for the Timberwolves, especially in the postseason. That cannot occur in this series if Minnesota is going to be able to advance. And of course, if you're the Timberwolves, you have to throw as many bodies at the Joker as possible. I guarantee you they're going to start off with Rudy Gobert on Carl Anthony Towns. You're going to see, pardon me, on Nikola Jokic, excuse me. Then I could see Carl Anthony Towns guarding the Joker as well. Nas Reed coming off of that bench. He's going to be big, trying to slow down because it's easier said than done. Okay, because when you're talking about the Joker, you're talking about one of the best players in the NBA currently. And then, of course, when you think about the Nuggets, it's not just about the Joker. Playoff Jamal Murray is a little bit different. We saw it in the bubble a couple of years ago. We saw it in Denver's championship run last year, and we just saw it in the first round against LA. It's one of those where you can stop him for 3 quarters, but this young man knows how to get to the finish line and he knows how to take over in the fourth quarter. Will the Timberwolves guards be able to slow him down? We got to wait and see. Michael Porter Jr., for a lot of other teams, okay, he would be the first option. But it just gives you an idea of the depth of this pardon me, this Denver team. And then speaking of the depth of the Nuggets, I talked about the Joker, I talked about Jamal Murray, and I talked about Michael Porter Jr. The Nuggets just keep coming at you in waves because it's kind of like pick your poison. Because a guy like Aaron Gordon, if you focus too much on the likes of the Joker, if you focus too much on the likes of Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon can clean up on the boards and he can pick you apart as well. Christian Braun and Reggie Jackson are also going to be very important coming off of that bench for Denver. And then the supporting cast for Minnesota, the likes of Mike Conley, the likes of Jaden McDaniels, the likes of Nas Reed. What are they going to be able to do? How are they going to be able to step up in the moment against a darn good Nuggets team? You look at this one right now, Michael Malone, of course, the head coach of Denver, will definitely have his team ready even if Chris Finch is not on the sidelines for the game, he will definitely have his team ready. I guarantee you this series is not going to go 5 games like it did in the postseason last year. Again, I can't harp on this enough. The Timberwolves are a much better team. And of course, they were able to flex their muscles in round number one against Phoenix due to the fact that they had the depth advantage and they also had the size advantage. This one is not going to be as easy for the Timberwolves. You have tremendous star power on both sides of the ball coming into this season and throughout the season. I said the Nuggets are the team to beat. They are battle tested, and barring injury, I do have the Nuggets going back as NBA champions. It's one of those scenarios, again, like I said before, this series is not going to go 5 games, but still, I am giving the edge to the Denver Nuggets. Too much talent, too much experience. And with that, when it's all said and done, I'm going to take Denver to get to the Western Conference Finals in 6 games. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now, you can check it out. Drop a line to be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.